Hi, and welcome to The Print. My name is Karanjeet Kaur, and I'm a writer and an editor. I'd like to talk to you today about the gruesome murder of Kanchan Kumari, or Kamal Kaur Bhabi, in Punjab. Less than a week ago, the Punjabi influencer was posting innocuous videos of herself to Instagram. She was driving through Ludhiana with a brood of young nephews and nieces, taking selfies and pouting at the camera. The excited little group are singing off key Bollywood songs and shooting the breeze, much like a day in the life of videos that so many influencers post. There isn't a trace of fear in Kumari's body language, and the death threats that she was apparently receiving appear to be a distant memory. 3 days later, Kumari's decomposing body was recovered from the same car in the parking lot of Adesh Hospital in Bhatinda, which is about 2 hours away from Ludhiana. The 30-year-old had been strangled to death by the men who made good on their threats. The woman Punjab knew by the suggestive moniker Kamal Kaur Bhabi commanded an empire of attention. She had 4.2 lakh Instagram followers, 2.3 lakh YouTube subscribers, and anywhere close to 7.7 lakh followers on Facebook. She often posted about wanting a suitable groom. Her content is risque and used off-color language, while building an audience hungry for what she offered. Nearly 15 lakh people across platforms consumed Kumari's work. That's 15 lakh people, overwhelmingly men, who enthusiastically liked, shared, and subscribed to her content. Only Kumari paid with her life. This is the perverse logic of moral policing. Millions of men consume what society deems unacceptable and corrupting, but it's only women who bear the consequences. In this very convenient system, creators are punished while consumers are absolved. Women become solely accountable for content that exists because men demand it. They carry the burden of male desire on one shoulder and society's honor on the other. Men, in the meantime, escape all scrutiny and responsibility. The mastermind of Kumari's murder also did not bother with these contradictions. Amritpal Singh Mehron, a 30-year-old bike mechanic from Moga and a self-styled radical leader, heads a vigilante group called Kaum De Rakhe, or Protectors of the Community. Mehron aligns himself with the Nihang Sikh order, comprising warriors characterized by blue robes and elaborate turbans. Let's remember that the Nihangs once defended the Sikh community against oppression. Mehron contested the 2022 Punjab Assembly elections and managed less than 6,400 votes. He even lost his security deposit. But since then, he has found his true calling in moral policing, reportedly amassing an Instagram following of nearly 7.5 lakh for his screeds against obscenity. Mehron orchestrated the murder through two accomplices, Jaspreet Singh and Nimratjeet Singh. They lured Kumari from Ludhiana to Bhatinda under the pretense of a car promotion event before strangling her to death. In a video posted after Kumari's killing, Mehron declared with theatrical bravado, "They, meaning the accused arrested, don't care for the consequences and neither do I. You can hang me, send me to jail for life, but as long as I'm alive, I will not allow obscenity and vulgarity to be spread in Punjab." Yet, within hours of a lookout notice issued against him, this protector of the community bravely fled to the UAE. Now, unsurprisingly, the murder has unleashed a campaign of terror across Punjab's content creator community. Amritsar influencer Deepika Luthra immediately deleted her videos, issued public apologies, and sought police protection after Mehron's explicit warning. Preet Jatti, who has more than 5 lakh followers on Instagram, was threatened for posting astrology content and now fears for her 5-month-old child's safety. In the same video, Mehron warns, just because some people want to earn money from Instagram and YouTube does not mean it's a free-for-all. It's not necessary that dead bodies would always be found or that there is only one parking spot in Bhatinda. Now, even in the face of this horrible crime, responses are divided, revealing a schism through Punjab's moral fabric. Plenty of voices have called on the Punjab government to find and bring Mehron to justice. Singer Mika Singh challenged Mehron directly. There are many gangsters, many terrible people roaming around Punjab. Why don't you go after those guys? Nihangs were meant to help the vulnerable and the defenseless. Meanwhile, Nihang leader Harjeet Singh Rasoolpur excoriated Mehro in a video. Who do you think you are? A blackmailer? You've only threatened people your entire life. As Sikhs, we have no right to cast aspersions on anyone's character or judge what a young woman says, wears, behaves, or whether she exposes herself. He questioned who Mehro's actions truly serve and suggested that it was only people who wish to break Punjab. But these voices of sanity are drowned by an equally vocal majority celebrating the murder as moral cleansing. Multiple influencers publicly justified the killing, calling it necessary to clean the trash and protect children from corruption. The head of the Akal Takht Sahib, Gyani Malkeet Singh, is one of them. He stated that Mehro had taken the right step and took exception to Kumari's appropriation of the name Kaur. He said in an interview, "Those who defame religions by spreading vulgarity under false identities must be stopped. Such actions are against the principles of our faith." Others have pledged legal support for Mehro, who is well on a path to transform into a folk hero. Navkiran Singh, a human rights advocate based in Punjab, told me that he didn't condone the killing, but that creators like Kumari were beyond the pale. Why doesn't the government have an agency to monitor creators like this? He said. In society, there are people who can stand vulgar messages, but some cannot. Why should somebody have an excuse to take the law into their own hands? This should serve as a turning point. You can't make content like this so easily accessible. But statements like these miss the point about where responsibility for murder should lie, with the killers and not with the victim. According to Canada-based journalist Gagandeep Singh, Mehro has been attempting to become an activist for years. He, along with others, was booked in 2020 for allegedly vandalizing statues of folk dancers at the Heritage Street near the Golden Temple in Amritsar. He has a history of threatening influencers and has also intervened in domestic disputes. Singh told me, Punjab has always had a vacuum of solid leadership. So from time to time, a lot of people have tried to fill this. Actor Deep Sidhu also tried, and later MP Amritpal Singh. And now Mehro is trying to fit into that space. Singh also pointed out that this issue is not limited to Punjab. Many Instagram influencers, mostly women, have moved abroad and often turn to social media to eke out a living. Take the case of Canada-based influencer Sudleen Official, who has over 6 lakh Instagram followers. 2 days ago, she responded to people comparing her to Kumari. She said in a video that her so-called obscene content gets so many more views. Please don't ask me to be good. I have tried it, and I get a few thousand views. But my supposedly dirty videos get millions of views. If anyone has to change, it is this mentality. I'll stop making such videos when you stop watching them. Singh also told me about the hypocrisy surrounding this discourse. Many men, he said, make similar double meaning or obscene videos. There is Randhir Maan, whose videos are filled with abuses, but no one seems to have said anything against him. Maan, who claims to be a pilot in the United States, has lakhs of followers across YouTube and Instagram, who laugh along with his tirades that are clearly filmed drunk. Kumari's murder represents the lethal endpoint of India's broader moral policing epidemic. It extends far beyond religious vigilantism into systematic cultural control. Everyone, from Amar Singh Chamkila to comedians Ranbir Alabadia and Samir Raina, falls on this spectrum. Our obscenity laws, largely unchanged since the 1860s, inevitably favor the loudest, most violent voices. The most insidious justification for Kumari's murder hinges on protecting the youth from corrupting influences. This patronizing narrative treats young people as empty-minded vessels just ready to transform into moral degenerates. But if our youth lacks basic discernment, and if they are prone to violence and indecency, then our problem isn't content regulation. It is understanding what kind of failed society produces such malleable, agency-free young people. By outsourcing moral responsibility to content creators, rather than teaching our young critical thinking, society demands that women become, in addition to everything else, unpaid guardians of public morality. Kanchan Kumari's content might have been vulgar, but the real obscenity is a country that murders women for serving an audience it refuses to acknowledge. And until that changes, Mehro's threat of parking lots in every city is a promise just waiting to be fulfilled.